Welcome to another episode of the Someone Had to Say podcast. I'm Temitope Oladokun. You can call me Tope Dukes.
And I am Olaoluwa and Temitope. You can call me LA.
If this is your first time on our podcast, make sure to subscribe. We have a repository of amazing topics.
Even if it's not your first time, if you've been listening and you've just not done it,
please go back to our previous episodes after this one and have a blast. Make sure to subscribe, follow us across all our social media platforms, share our content everywhere, spread the word, and make sure to always stay tuned. Turn on post notification as well. Okay, so first of all, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I feel fine. I feel
100%.
Yeah, 1000%.
Okay,
I'll just keep raising the bar.
Raising the bar.
And
okay.
you, how are you feeling?
I feel so good. And I think it's been such an amazing ride thus far in the first season of the Someone Had to Say podcast. How's it been for you so far?
I mean, it's been a beautiful journey. It's been amazing. It's been exciting. It's been fun. It's been tasking. It's been busy. I mean, from the first moment we decided to go about doing this, from the uncertainty to the okay, yes, we are going to do it. I mean, it's also helped me also learn more, listen more. Also, the opportunity to listen to yourself, that can feel uncomfortable at first, and then it seems at some point you get used to it. Also getting feedback from people. It's really been an amazing journey. How has it been for you?
I think it's been an amazing one too, just like you said. Feels just like yesterday. I think we've settled into the groove, and that's a good thing. I think it's been such a privilege sharing our convictions, our thoughts, our opinions on critical, topics and discussions. It's been a beautiful one. It's been stretching, but it's been absolutely rewarding doing this. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And this is the last episode of this season. First of all, let's give ourselves a round of applause.
You did it, guys.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it all.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I'm looking forward to the amazing conversation that we're going to have today. And then, of course, I mean, there'll be season 2, and you can raise your expectations for that. And of course, we'll be we'll be coming back stronger with more amazing, discussions and topics. So just wanted to break that to you, and of course more info to follow, but yeah, just wanted to put this out there, right? So I think we can get right into it.
Yeah, so okay. I'm sure by now you know what next. If you don't, that means you've not been listening to the podcast enough. Yes, and please make sure you do. It's time for
the
red shoebox, where we are going to be picking our topic for the day from. So I will just shake it up quickly. Whatever we did not cover in season 1, it definitely would be covered in season 2.
The topics are like inexhaustible, so
so keep them coming. Keep your suggestions and recommendations coming in as well. So what do we have today?
Okay, so more than what you are wearing, the modesty conversation.
Oh, nice.
So I guess we're talking about modesty today.
Yeah, modesty. I think that can sound like a buzzword to certain people. When you hear the term modesty, what comes to your mind? And where do you think the what we even consider to be modesty today, in today's context, culture, religious ideology of it? So what do you think about the term generally?
So I think when I hear modesty, I think for a lot of people, they relate to this, the fact that our ideas about modesty has evolved over the years, depending on your background, But when I hear modesty now, like what comes to mind, and I chose this stance because modesty seems to be fluid. It seems to be very subjective and contextual, depending on the religion, depending on the geographical location, depending on the demography, depending on culture, which is fluid and ever evolving. But what comes to mind now is um, value system and restraint, right? And I chose this versus a particular dress code, right? Or versus how much skin is showing, or versus how many inches of clothing you have on, to adopting this, because I think it's more, this one is more anchoring, to say modesty is more about restraint, and having, a solid value system which will guide every other thing, regardless of where you are at, regardless of the religion, regardless of the location, regardless of the context. So I think for me, that's it.
Yeah, nice. For me, while you were speaking, I was also trying to think that, okay, what will I define it to be? I think it refers to some form of moderation in some way, or regulation. Yeah, that's what I think that's a better term. When you are consciously regulating not just how you dress, which most times is what people talk about when it comes to modesty, but also how you speak,
Yeah.
how you do the things you do, just your manner of conduct. So I think modesty describes some form of would I say piety, but
Like personal boundary.
yeah. So just refining. So again, I'm thinking. So is the boundaries what defines modesty? But I think there's usually an umbrella, maybe like a context. Maybe it's cultural, maybe it's social, maybe it's religious,
Yeah.
that sort of defines what you now sort of try to be
Adopt,
modest under. So
Yeah.
there's an overriding construct.
Yeah. So there has, what you're saying is, there has to be a frame of reference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect. So like there usually is a frame of reference to what you are defining.
And I think that
modesty or
that
that
ties to,
regulation.
the value system part that I
Yes,
mentioned.
exactly. Yeah. So I think that defines it.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, and I mean we already spoke about the dressing part. Do you think that when the modesty conversation comes up these days, it's more about fashion policing than it is about, that general sense of regulation, of moderation in everything that you are doing?
Yeah, I do believe these days when people talk about, whether they talk about it or they just have that internal dialogue, which is like judging, it's more about that, and we need to understand that our idea of modesty, even in the Christian faith, has evolved depending on the location, depending on the location, the context, the demography. There was a time where what you have on as an haircut,
Why am I the example?
used to be grossly
Frowned
immodest.
upon.
Yeah, but now it's mainstream. A child born in 2025 will not grow up to view this hairstyle as immodest, right? Because by the time they came onto the scene, it was mainstream. And putting on a jean today, a jean pants, right? Some 20 years ago, it was heavily frowned upon.
There are even some people that still frown upon it
till today, even as Christians. But today, it is, for the most part, in certain sects, it is accepted, right? The way I'm dressed now, in a different faith, it is grossly immodest, worthy of punishment, like like gruesome punishment, right? So it's really contextual. And I think that, I mean, to your question, which says that is modesty now, this discussion, is it a lot more about judging or about like, so I think we need to review the way we approach this. I've never been one, like I always say, to be about uniformity. We cannot all be the same. We cannot all have the same sense of expression or have the same mode of expression when it comes to fashion. Fashion is an art. The way we want to, and the way we dress is also mirrors how we feel about ourselves and what we want to project in the world. And I believe that there has to be a guiding principle for modesty. And when we stick more to the guiding principles, we will not be having a lot of conversations around the superficial things. Like, how much skin is showing, right? Because the guiding principle will deal with how much skin a person will decide to show. To some people, this is this is too much skin. I believe when it comes to modesty, we need to think about it as Number one, having a level of self-respect and self-awareness. So if a person has a level of self-respect, self-awareness, and respect for the context you're in, that's number one. So you respect yourself as a person. You see yourself as somebody of value. And what I want to put out to the world and how I want people to perceive me is somebody worthy of respect. Self-awareness is you understand yourself and you understand the context you are in. And then respect for where you are in is that it's not just about you. It's also about where you are at. So for instance, if I go to northern Nigeria, for instance, and I want to get certain things done, I have to dress the kind of way.
Okay.
I want to get business done, right? I'm trying to, when I get into certain space, I respect myself, I'm aware of what's happening, but I also have to respect the people there because it costs me nothing to kind of adapt to how, do you understand?
Yeah.
How they expect to see responsible people that they want to have business dealings with. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that must be there. Number two, there also has to be also having introspection to say, with the way I've chosen to put myself out in the world, am I showing up confidently or am I projecting insecurity? So there's a difference between, and now even that is contextual because you may be acting from a place of deep confidence. You are assured in yourself. But what somebody else is perceiving is, this person is showing off. So maybe a person may be dealing with trauma of neglect. And then as they grow, they're like, you know what? Fashion is how I want to call attention to myself because I grew up with people looking over me, or people looking, past me and not acknowledging my presence. Now that's something that like needs to be dealt with. So having that level of retrospection to say, why am I doing the things that I do today, right? Just having that honesty. And I think another conversation we need to have around modesty is understand what's the anchor of my life. So I, as a Christian, right, we uphold certain values, right? Values of respect, values of being sober, values of not gratifying self, values of discipline. So that it's not just about like values I uphold internally. It has to show in everything that I do. It has to show in the way I eat, in the way I dress, in the way I go about life, right? So it means that, for instance, just because something is trendy doesn't mean that I have to do it, right? Just because everybody's wearing this doesn't mean I have to wear it. I need to ask myself, number one, does this honor God? In my context, does this honor God? If the answer is no, then I'm sorry, I can't wear it. Does this expose me as a person to certain kind of reactions, that may harm me, right? If the answer is no, then there's no point. So I think we need to start talking in terms of guiding principles because two people in the same faith can see,
Exactly.
they will have different views about what is accepted.
Exactly.
And the truth is that in a lot of those cases, there is no right or wrong. Do you understand? There's no right or wrong because I don't have to dress the way you dress, and that's okay. I don't have to want to dress the way you dress, and that's fine. Somebody may be fine with a knee length skirt, and somebody else would want it to go further down. But then, do they have the same guiding principles? I think guiding principles is to keep us anchored, and then our own expression, our own creativity, we can always flex around that so that we don't go about policing people. Because trust me, what you are policing and against today, in the next 5 years, you would evolve. You may evolve beyond that. So let's start thinking around these things so that when we do, we may not be uniform, right? But we'll be aligned on the core things. And you would see that on the essentials, like you would not be seeing certain things, right? Versus policing people, because what that would lead to is rebellion. Do you get? Because if you look at it really, in like you can't find, for instance, if somebody uses the Bible as a frame of reference, you may not necessarily find do not wear what
Well, there are actually
African?
certain rules in the Old Testament that even say you can't combine fabric. So I don't even think the people who feel they will be able to justify certain things would not even be victims. So that means literally
Do you get?
what I'm wearing like this,
This is a
even based
sin.
on this
This is a
patterns
sin.
and stuff,
Yeah, you know.
will be wrong.
Yeah, so we need to think about these things. So when we talk about it, from a faith perspective, from even a secular perspective, like when you want to be taken seriously, there's a way you need to dress
Yeah.
because you need to respect that context. So you cannot come and say, no, I'm this way. I'm sorry, I have to dress this way. Then you're not going to be taken seriously. Like, remember, you are not the only one existing in the world. You are interdependent with other people in the world, and you need to get things done. So you need to respect those contexts, you know, especially if they don't harm you in any way or they don't violate your own value system, So yeah, that's what I believe. How about you?
Yeah. I think yes, indeed, I will admit that the modesty conversation and has in a large way become heavy on fashion policing than
Yeah.
every other thing. While I was defining it, I mentioned that it goes beyond just what you are wearing.
Yeah.
It's not just what it's about your character, how you speak,
Yeah.
how you present yourself. So even though it is an outward reflection,
Yeah.
there is more than one way in which you are communicating your modesty, the
Yeah.
presence of modesty or lack of it.
Mhm.
So probably the most obvious one may be how you dress, but that's not the only one.
Yeah.
There's how you
How you
speak,
speak, yeah.
how you
How you
carry
eat.
yourself, how you eat, how you do things generally. So I think the general consciousness is that you are being assessed externally, and you also need to be assessing yourself internally. But then the question is now based on what? And like you mentioned, even the fashion policing has evolved over time. So that means we can see that there is more than one thing that is guiding what is defined as modest or appropriate
Yeah.
in terms of especially the focal point usually, which is dressing. For instance, like when I was much younger, if you see a guy with braids, it's even you as a child will look funny at it because even around you, it wasn't number one commonplace,
Wasn't mainstream.
and the way it was even spoken about around us as kids, it was made to seem taboo and stuff like that. But the older I've gotten, and also it's dependent on the social circles that you find yourself in. Because I wouldn't even be surprised if there's somebody at my age who still sees, oh, a guy with braids as weird. And there are several reasons surrounding that, because I think it's even more about why do you think it's bad than whether or not specifically it's bad.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, it may be hard to define. Some people, it may be representation. Maybe that every place where I've seen a guy looking like this or a lady looking like this is what they represent. This is what it means.
Yeah.
So
True.
so number one, is that your data, is it vague? Is it sampled from a very specific location and you are projecting it to other places? Is it actually true
That's so
that
solid.
everybody that is looking this way or dressing this way actually, because sometimes you can't blame the police for profiling certain people. You would blame the society. Do you get? So it's a lot of things. It's orientation, it's education. Because it's easy for me to say that you should be much more aware of what is going on. That awareness would be gradual. I even think that now I would say the police is much calmer, generally speaking, when it comes to seeing guys with afro, seeing guys with braids, but there's still that profiling. But what has made the orientation start to gradually change? Of course, not across boards. One person may automatic, as I see you like this, you're a Yahoo boy. Once they say a young person driving a nice car, looking a certain way, there's profiling. So where is that profiling coming from? It is cultural, it is religious, it is social. So it is so many things combined, which is why I feel like it's it is more dynamic. It's a more dynamic conversation than we claim for it to be. So maybe sometimes some people are projecting their cultural values on their face, which is why sometimes you will say that, oh, a guy should not wear this, or and as a guy you should not cover your head. Okay, so maybe in terms of your religious belief you may have escaped, but then there is a cultural nuance that, okay, traditionally, maybe me as a Yoruba guy, there are certain places I'm supposed to wear a hat to. And then what exactly was the scripture saying when it was referring to these things in the Bible? Where was it spoken about culturally? Was it spoken about? So there are several. I'm just basically trying to highlight the fact that there are several angles to look at the conversations from. So maybe in 1992, if you saw a guy with earrings, there was something it represented then to you as an African in Nigeria, which it did not represent in the West at that time, which is also not representing in 2025, based on several things. But I think the most important thing when it comes to this modesty conversation is that, because like we have both said, it sometimes seems subjective, but it's that who is setting the rules of modesty? Who is defining what looking modest, appearing modest, being modest is? And once we recognize that it is more than one factor, we now know how we can address the subjects. When we know that, okay, there is a cultural, both traditional culture, corporate culture, like you said, there are certain locations.
Could you also touch on something that, I mean, we've talked about, even in the banking sector, we've seen how things have evolved.
Yes, yes. So there's the fact, because even culture in itself is always constantly evolving. So we can't deny the fact that there is culture presence even in religion. So as the culture is evolving outside, it's also evolving inside the church, it's evolving in the corporate sector, it's evolving in family setup and all of those things. So the next question I want to ask is that, do you feel like this evolution in terms of modesty, do you feel like okay, I think I found a better way to phrase it. Do you feel like it is subjective, the modesty conversation? Because it seems like, okay, one person will come and say, okay, this is how I should dress. As a lady, I'm going to the beach, I should wear a bikini. It is location appropriate. You know, there's that conversation too. I'm going to the gym, this is what I should wear. So don't come and be policing me for wearing a bikini at the beach, because that's the right place to be. That is a valid argument in that sense. But then we also have a moral compass by the faith that we belong to that guides how we are supposed to appear in certain places. How do you combine these diverse views together and achieve? Because when you said that we may not achieve uniformity, I still feel like there still has to be something guiding even that diversity.
Wow, that's such a loaded question. But there's two ways to answer this. Number one, I can zoom into the modesty in terms of dressing question and answer this, because, and I believe that will not do justice to this question, because that's us assuming that everybody wants to, quote unquote, do the right thing and lean into modesty. But I want to take another route.
Okay.
I want us to take a step back. That's a beautiful question, but I don't want to zoom into modesty in terms of dressing. I want us to take a step back, because the reasons why we do things the way we do is because we have certain ideologies. We have certain value systems. So for instance, a person is not dressing a particular way or dressing provocatively just because they want to. There is a way they think. And that way they think influences how they dress, how they talk to people, the places they go to, the things they watch, the things they sing about or talk about. So I want us to approach it from that point of view, because it's not one thing. So for instance, the reason why I talk the way I do is not only because of my religious inclination. It's also because of there's an element of background, there's an element of the country I'm in, there's an element of my community and all of that. So let's take it from that point of view. If not, we will be, it's almost like you want to get a tree house, but you won't just spend time like pulling off the fruits. Like you need to, and you can't just cut off the tree, just cut off the tree. You need to pull it out from the roots, right? So that root is the ideology. Like, how does this person think? What influences, like what's the guiding principle? Like what's their core? Do you get? What do they think they're about? Do you get? And we need to address it, from that point of view. So now somebody who is modest according to our standard, it could be that person's guiding principle is that, number one, maybe they are quote unquote rebelling against hypersexualization, right? They're like, what is mainstream in media today is hypersexualization. I want to stand against it because this is what my faith is about. Somebody may say, I'm about professionalism.
Mm.
They may not necessarily
Exactly.
be of the same faith as we, like they don't even have the same, Christian convictions, but they want to be professional. And they are dressing quote and unquote modest. And we may look at them and say, oh,
Hey, exactly, that's the person you should be.
The person is not even, person doesn't have the same spiritual convictions as we do. Somebody else, it may be about self-respect. I want people to, look at me this way. I want people to perceive me this way. And that's why they are doing the things they do. So if we're not about why is this person doing the things they do? So for instance, a person may say, I'm a Christian creative today, and when they want to do get ready with me, they are naked or half naked. So if you are telling that person that, oh, you should not be naked, you should not, you are like just addressing the fruit, but not the, do you understand the core? So yes, the person may be a professing Christian, but what are their ideologies? Are they just believers? They go to church, but certain ideologies have not been addressed. If not, we will just keep, just quenching fire everywhere, and fire just keep cropping up because we're not talking about the real things. So if and there are some ideologies that sort of align and they're not even against each other. So somebody who is about professionalism, who is about like the Christian faith or other faith that pushes for modesty in terms of like really covering up. Somebody that is about against hypersexualization. They don't even have to be Christians. They're not even against each other. Actually, a lot of these things are aligned to our Christian faith. So we need to come at it from that point of view, because really, not only modesty, everything, there will always be that intersection of the things you mentioned, like our faith, like our culture. Even looking at banking today, I mean, in the past, as a banker, as a male, you have to be clean shaven, like no single beard.
Yeah, imagine all of this gone.
Yeah, but today that has evolved, right? It's not that serious again, right? And I believe that
not everywhere. Some people still, but I mean, I get what you mean. Like it's evolving.
It's kind of a bit lax, And I believe that even though the banking sector is like secular, you need to understand that even that sector is influenced by culture, is influenced by media, it's influenced by the demography, because then it was the Gen X and Y, but now I mean it's the Gen Z, and they're not necessarily about that life. I mean, we have Gen Alpha, so everything is influenced by everything, right? And even scripturally, we see that even though we read it now in our context as our faith, right? Let's remember that some of the things we read, especially in the Old Testament, for them it was culture. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So for us now, we can say, okay, this is our cultural context and this is faith, and we find a way to ensure that for us our kingdom culture takes precedence, right? And we find ways to align where they don't contract it, they align. But we can make that difference because I'm not a Jew, right? But for in the Old Testament, for them, there was no distinguishing, that line wasn't there. It was culture for them. For instance, the males had to be circumcised, 8 days after they were born. For them, it wasn't like, oh, this is my religion, this is my culture. For them, it was culture. And we need to acknowledge that. So the next time you want to have conversations, with somebody about how many inches, of clothing they have on, or how much skin is showing, I think the critical question is to be, what are their ideologies? What are the things they hold here? What's their compass? Like, what's that value? Value system is supposed to be a compass that guides the direction you take, right? And I think that's very important.
But would that mean then that, okay, once I've scanned and asked this question, I realized that, okay, this person doesn't live by my values. Does that mean there's no need for us to even have that conversation?
No, what I'm saying is that that's where the work needs to be done.
Okay, in terms of...
Yeah, so when you find out... So I'm not just saying, oh, you shouldn't be half naked. I want to understand the ideology. Like, why? Like, why are you doing this?
What if the person is half naked in like a public place, like with kids and stuff like that? So do we have the time to first be saying, let's address
that one? You need to first love
ideology?
Them up. No, I'm even saying like where you where you want to influence. No, this one you want to protect.
Yeah.
You want to protect children. You want to protect people. You lock them up.
Awesome.
You without.
Please explain what you mean by lock them up.
No, what I mean is that like you need to employ means to
get them out of
do you
that
understand?
space,
There
yeah.
needs to be a separation. They need to be moved out of it. Now I'm talking about, what I was talking about previously was you want to influence change.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Awesome.
Because when you lock a person up, the children are protected.
What do you mean by lock them up? Is it like arrest, put them in the
Arrest
police
them,
station?
anything. I don't care, because like, why are you making in front of children? Like, is that important? Like, if you tell me somebody is about to like injure somebody else, like that's like a dangerous situation. They need to be locked up, right?
Yeah.
I think you'd agree. I view it the same way when somebody is naked in front of children.
Okay.
So
Well,
sorry.
me, I didn't mean literal nakedness, but I get what
But
you
you
mean.
get, yeah. I mean, these things happen. You may not hear cases of this in Nigeria, but we know it happens like in the West, in Europe, in UK, where there are like some interesting ideologies, right? So that's I'm saying that with the same passion, right? Knowing that for me, children everywhere should be protected. They should be preserved. They should be cared for. So pardon me or do not pardon me. I'm sorry, I can't help but talk with that level of passion. Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, very, very interesting stuff. And there was something you said that I think is very, very significant, which is that in addressing this matter, generally and specifically, there are two angles. There's the protective angle and there's the influencing angle. So there's the part where you need to protect other people around you. Any form of vulnerability, whether it's women protecting men, whether it's we as a people protecting children, whether it's just even men protecting women in terms of where moderation in dressing, in speaking, in everything is concerned. I think there are more drastic measures in that, okay, please, you need to maybe move out, you need to cover up yourself. Maybe like, hey, there are some people who dress certain ways in church that may not seem appropriate. Instance measures are required, like give them something to cover up. Also, I've even had instances where some people are told to go back to their homes, so instant measures. And then there's the influence part, which is what you said, and requires addressing the root cause.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can't help but speak to this matter from my worldview, which is based on the Bible. And I feel like, of course, while we agree that the Bible did not generally give a do's and don'ts, which is sometimes why it's difficult to address this conversation. And I think that sometimes people don't acknowledge the role culture is playing in what they express as religious piety. So you may find it comfortable to cover yourself up like a mummy because the culture you grew up in formed you in that way. So a lady who is, this is me playing, I don't want to say devil's advocate, but advocating for, so a lady who is wearing a bikini at the beach, they may not all be going for sexy, because which is generally the perception that once you are not properly dressed, it's because you are trying to attract men, you are trying to deceive people. That may not be the intent. Imagine somebody who grew up in an environment where, like, since he was a kid, this was the two-piece she used to wear in the pool or in the beach. So if she grew up that way, you may not be able to accurately calculate and say you are trying to attract people and trying to be cause men to stumble. All those, I mean, examples that people often always say. So you may not be acknowledging that. And then on the other side, you who has a more liberal sense of style, you need to be humble enough to understand that sometimes you may not be intending to cause harm, but that doesn't stop harm from occurring, even in an unintended way. And what I feel the Bible focuses on when it comes to this conversation is that we know that the Bible tells us to be moderate in our appearance and everything that we do. And another thing it talks about is in placing other people in consideration. There are instances where Paul speaks about it specifically in Romans, and I think also in Corinthians, about the fact that sometimes it may not just be about how I want to feel confident, I want to feel this, but I also have to put other people into consideration. And your ability to do that defines how mature you are in your work with God, in my opinion, which are the things I feel should define all of these things. And I found myself asking myself certain questions, especially maybe I dress up and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident. Then I'm looking at the mirror, I'm asking myself, okay, apart from how confident and how good I'm feeling in what I'm wearing, could it communicate the wrong message to a certain kind of person? There are certain times where I'm going somewhere and I know I'm going to pass through certain police checkpoints. I change what I'm wearing just because of that. Not for any other reason, strictly because I know that if it will delay me. Of course, I don't expect them to arrest me or anything or find anything, but if they see me, they'll profile me and stop me, at least try to get some money or whatever it is. There's that consideration. There may be certain places you are going to and you feel like, if I go dressed like this, it may disrupt how they receive what I'm trying to communicate to them. Like you said, you're going for a business meeting up north. You should dress. So generally, I think even in certain industries that are considered mass appealing, they usually err on the side of caution, in that they go with the more conservative option. That's what influences the dress style in banking. That's what influences the dress style in, say, marketing, for instance, especially when it's wide. If you are working in the Middle East, there's a certain way you most likely would dress. If you are going to see the president of certain nations, it would influence. But of course, there are some people that still claim to be, oh, I'm an outlier. Maybe if you are being recognized for being an outlier, okay, maybe you can still go with your style. But the general rule of thumb is that when you are going to certain places, you try to intentionally appear in the way you want to be received. It's the same thing with language, because if I'm speaking to a French audience, I will not say that, oh, no, 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 no. It's English, me, I know how to speak. It's either I learn to speak French or I get an interpreter. And I think we should carry that perspective into everything that we are doing, that the audience is relevant. Yes, you may argue that even if you cover up self, pedophiles will still be pedophiles, rapists will still be rapists, perverts will still be perverts. Yes, there is that. But the goal of us as people should be to make ourselves and the world around us, as much as we can influence it, much better. And it is from those angles that I usually would dive into the old bikini conversation, the old gym conversation, and all of that. There are two sides to it. There is self-restraint on your part.
Yes.
That even if somebody is inappropriately dressed, that should not get me as a man to indulge in vices that should never be appropriate in any way or form. So that means that no matter how naked a lady is looking, the onus is on me. No matter how naked a lady may appear, the onus is on me as a person to protect myself from looking at anything that would cause me to sin or cause me to fall or cause me to stumble. And stumbling is in different ways. I, as a person, am of a level of moral values where that is not cause for me to engage or try to go after the person. My own moral compass is in stopping to continue to focus and look at that person. There are some people that their own struggle is that they are dealing with sexual perversion, where somebody else may see that and be triggered to want to rape them. That one has something else that they need to deal with. And there is problems to the society in that. We can use two ways to correct something. So the person with the problem has to fix his problem. The person who may be a potential threat also needs to review the ways in which they may be causing issues around them. So when we say be moderate in your appearance, be moderate in all of that, it is not for the perverts. It is for us to create a society where people can feel safe and secure, within the context of why we are gathered here. If we are in church, let us look like we are going to church. If we are at the office, let us look like we are we are in the office. So if you are in the office and I'm seeing your cleavage, it is wrong. You are not conforming to the dictates of this environment. So it's not, oh, you be the bigger person. Yes, I accept I should be the bigger person. I will not look at your cleavage as much as God gives me the restraints not to. But you too should also come appropriately dressed for the event. So my question always is, when it comes to bikini, gym wear, all this, because I see people are just, I hear that in the gym now, people are just freestyling and you see a lot of things. So the question is that, are there other ways to achieve, what I need to achieve in this location? So, I mean, say I'm at the beach, for instance, or at the pool. Okay, I need to feel convenient. I need to feel comfortable. I need to wear something that I can easily swim in. I need to wear something that, what else are the considerations? A color that is visible underwater. Okay, all things considered. It's summer, it's hot, good. Are there ways that I can achieve this with moderation in consideration? So I think that's where we should, as believers, should be starting from. Because if the only options available is what we are taking, then we'll never get anywhere with this conversation. We'll just say, see, this is all we have to wear, this is all we have to do, and there's nothing we can do about it. But are you even taking that extra effort to even try to do something about it within the way that you can? So that is one way that I feel that these conversations need to be approached. So I don't think it is just vague and just subjective across board. Anybody just work with your rules.
Yes,
You hear people say that God is not convicting me about how short my skirt is, and I mean, sorry, it's seeming like
and
it's a lot
and
about
I
the
don't like
ladies.
when the conversation lands at this, because
Exactly.
there needs to, while we are trying to accommodate and understand different contexts, there is truth.
Yeah.
And truth is not according to
Exactly.
Tokpe or according to Ele. There is truth according to the word of God. There is truth according to what is right. And sorry, I just wanted to chip that in.
So I mean, we need to always look at these things. So questions you should always ask yourself that, okay, as I'm looking like this, as I'm dressed like this, what kind of compliments am I desiring from this ensemble I'm putting together? So and it's us judging our intents. It's not even really about the outfit in and of itself, because that one, I would agree that culturally and in several ways it may be subjective, but that, okay, am I trying to look confident? Am I trying to look right for the occasion? Am I like trying to look comfortable? Am I trying to look sexy? Okay, so now if we are going for sexy, you must have the humility to admit that, okay, I am probably trying to intentionally sow certain kinds of seeds in the hearts of certain people. So we cannot be ignorant of the fact that we are trying to do these things. And it's something everybody has to do. Everybody has to do it, both men and women, every single person. That was because guys too now wearing bomb shorts, and everybody is doing different things. So it's you asking yourself that, what perception of myself am I trying to create intentionally? There's no sugarcoating it, with the way I'm dressed to this occasion. We have landed back on dressing. But now, still on that. So my next question is, do you feel like this conversation focuses more on ladies than it does men?
To be honest, I would have to agree that for the most part it focuses on like ladies. And I think it's understandable because even culturally, if you look at different cultures, like the ensemble for men are quite straightforward, right? I mean, for a guy, it's not more than like, the top piece and then the lower piece, like your pants,
There are some guys that are creative with their
no, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
Generally speaking, yeah. While for ladies, like, we can always spice things up. Even when you tell men, like, okay, dress corporately, like, it's not more than suits. Like, you wear your suit. But for us ladies, we can always flex around it. You can wear a pantsuit, you can wear a skirt suit, you can wear a dress, you can wear, and it's amazing because, you have that variety. Even as children, like when you give birth to a male child or a female child, like you can even tell the difference. Shopping for a boy child is like straightforward. It's not more than the top, the shirts, and then the trousers. And then for girl child, you can play around the dresses. So I think, and sometimes when in answering this question, it may seem like, oh, society is there's that bias against women, there's that subjugation against women, and that may not necessarily apply in this context as to why it seems like, oh, it's about women, because there are a lot of varieties with our clothing, right? While for men it tends to be more straightforward. So yeah, I think that's why. So it's not so much about wanting to control women in this context. Now in some other topics there might be that, but in this context I don't think it's so much of that as to why most of the time it seems to kind of be directed to women. I think that's why, to be honest. If you ask me, I think that's why.
Well, some people will say that there's patriarchy, there's all these things. It may be difficult to argue and say that, okay, yes, there's none of that involved, but the truth of the matter is that people will always discuss this topic from where it seems to be
and by the way,
pinching the most.
when I say this, I'm not saying like, and the thing is, for every topic there are nuances, there are context. So I'm just saying, generally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So when some people are addressing it, is it from a patriarchal point of view? Yes.
And there's
For
a whole
some,
topic,
for some people,
another episode of maybe someone to say
do
podcast
you
on
get
that
on
particular
that?
one. Yeah.
For some other people, there's the cultural. They are judging you based on cultural context.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for some people, it's just the fact that there's a man. A man can do anything,
Mm-hmm.
but a woman has to dress. For some people, when they even talk about modesty, it is from, oh, how will your husband? Do you understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you dressing like this? You don't want to get a husband, you know, or will you find a husband this way?
Yeah.
Now,
so they are they're even projecting their own biases, insecurities on another person.
But I am just saying, like, from a, let's cut out all the nuances or the context. Like, generally speaking, let's even say somebody just came into the earth, had no context of anything, and they were to talk about like modesty in this, you know, from this angle. I think it may naturally just tend towards women more. So maybe like being conservative, say maybe like a 60-40%. And for the reason being that, the reason being that in terms of clothing, in terms of accessories, women like have that room to play with variety. So there are a lot of, for a guy, like what's I feel like a guy going to the gym, the spectrum of what you can wear is not as wide as what a woman can wear. Do you get? And that's just the truth. You know, except the guy just wants to go AWire, right? So but if we start to dig into the POVs that people project into discussing this, trust me,
it's a lot.
It's limitless.
The whole day will not be enough for us to discuss that. So I would like us to end on a practical note. So now this is where you have to come with your style consulting, you know, hat. You know, I feel like, so there are people who want to dress and look good. You know, they want to dress nice, but it seems like there's a limit for options. Some ladies have already concluded that, see, once it's time for I should be like this, there are certain types of style that they are restricted to sewing and stuff like that. So I think the main question is, how can we retain our creativity, our being stylish, our being confident, you know, even creating styles that are at the foreground, looking good, you know, and not cause these distractions and stuff that we are talking about. How can we, and you can even give practical tips. So
okay. So I think anything you're looking for in this life, you always find. If you are looking for styles that, you know, are not what is mainstream, I think you'll find. If you're looking for designers that don't make what you see everywhere and you don't like, I think you will find, right? And I think that even on a personal level, with your value system solid, what you would see as modesty, as in 2025, may evolve in 2030. So you may look back at your pictures 2025, you're like, I'd rather not like want to wear this in 2030. Not because it's bad, but because you are evolving as a person. Your sense of style is evolving, your personal understanding is evolving, your convictions are evolving, the way you want to, like your growth level, you know, is just improving, right? So let's take note of that. Now getting into the style, you know, point of view, though this is not a styling, you know, podcast, but I think first of all, God loves creativity. I love creativity. Like, we don't all have to look the same. Just because you are going to a party doesn't mean you have to wear corsets. Like, do you have to wear corsets? You know, it doesn't have to be. You know, does it have to be a certain way? You can flex with your creativity. You know, and I don't think it's we need to be, what's the word? We need to tiptoe around creativity like it's something bad. Do you get? So for some people, you do need to have, like, consult with a stylist, you know, to understand what works for you. Because sometimes it's not even having that sense of style that leads us to go with what is mainstream.
True.
You know, because you don't even understand your body shape, your body structure, what works well for you. But you're like, you know what, this is
And
where
that feeling that your options are limited.
Do you get? But once you, and the thing is, what makes clothing look good is your confidence, your frame, how you carry it. You see some people wearing what you would consider crazy, and then they rock it with confidence, and even you are doubting your sanity, like, is it me or is it them? Because they wear with so much confidence, right? So I think for some people, you do need to have that consultation and understand what works for you, and like just invest a lot more, into that. Even for instance, you love to swim, and you're like, everybody's wearing, bikinis, two-piece, and you're like, this doesn't align with me. You do know there are swimwears that, like, I don't know what they call them. I have something like it, but it's like a it's like a body,
like
it's like
those,
a
body suits.
bodysuit.
Is that what they call it?
No, bodysuits are the ones that it's not
Athletes.
bodysuit.
But basically, like those ones that those athletes wear, where it's
Yeah,
like,
and then it's like a short.
I think they get the points, but
They call it romper, right? Romper, but like it's the material is like swimwear material. So anything you want to do, even for tennis, some people may say, I mean, there are tennis players of like different faith, where they say, what, this is dressing the mainstream ways against my faith, but I can wear something that covers my hair, something that I can wear like a pantyhose. See, anything you are looking for in the world, you can have access to it.
trust me,
If
even
it's
that
not,
pantyhose, some people will still tell you that one self is not.
because at the end of the day, you are not even trying to fit into somebody's mold of modesty. That's not the goal, right? Because, like I said, even on a personal level, what you can wear in 2025 may not be what you'd be comfortable wearing in 2030. I mean, I had a dress that I looked at it, I maybe 2 years ago, and I'm like, you mean I actually wore this dress? And that just shows evolution, that just shows growth, and if you try everything, you don't even see what you want, you have an image of it, who said you can't create it? Who said you have to be a consumer of everything in your life? Who said you can't be a creator? So go ahead and create it. You have an image of what you want, so go ahead. If you can't do it yourself, partner with somebody, copyright it, whatever it is, yeah, so that's what I believe. Yeah, I'm sorry this is not like the intensive styling.
Probably I caught you off guard with that one.
But because for me, like I said, I'm still staying true to my how I approach things. Like, this is not so much about uniformity or giving you like a dress code. It's about the guiding principle, because no matter the tips I give, it will not apply to everybody.
Yeah, true.
It will not apply to everybody. So for me, what impact looks like in this brevity of time for this episode is saying these things so that you can apply it to your context. Because, to be honest, am I supposed to say, oh, maybe go and find, good fitting pants, or go and find good t-shirts?
I mean, if you
can apply to everybody.
I get what you mean.
So I think for me, these are like the core things that would just help, regardless of your context.
Yeah, that's really good. I think the only thing I'll add to that would be go for what makes you comfortable and what you feel confident in over what others will find appealing. I think that's one way that people make a lot of mistakes in their wardrobe. They're like, oh, what's trending? What this person say they like? You are looking at it from the outside in, so try to prioritize what aligns with your values, what you feel comfortable in, and what you feel confident in. And you realize that, I mean, if those guide how you appear, there's even something about how you are carrying yourself in what you are wearing, that makes you feel better. Then prioritize fits. I mean, the right fitting outfit always looks good. So make sure it's not about how expensive or how affordable what you are wearing is, as much as it is about, it's fitting appropriately and fitting well. Get the basics first before you start trying to be creative in sense, except you are naturally thank you, except you're naturally a creative person. So
but if you're just starting on this journey of like building your wardrobe, just stick to the essentials first
and maintain them well. That's even like the killer in all of this. Take care if you have only 2 clothes, take care of them very well. Make sure that anytime you are wearing them, you are looking very good in them. I think those things are even very, very important than having 150,000 clothes and you are just trying to, and you are not even able to come up with something. And I just remember something that I must say before we leave here. Right now, I mean, Middle Eastern fragrance houses are making perfumes more affordable. Please try to look like what you are wearing. Okay, so try to make sure that what you are wearing as clothes is matching what you are wearing as a perfume. There's a reason why I said it.
Mm.
During the week, I
Mm.
went to get some things at the grocery store, and I just walked past this guy. The fragrance that came from him
Mm.
smelled rich, smelled solid, like
Mm.
wow, this is amazing. And as I just looked at him, first of all, I can't even describe how I was, but the summary, he was wearing bathroom slippers.
Mm.
He was in public. So I mean, let's everything.
And that's immodest, because sometimes
Hence,
we
it's
think,
even still part of this
yeah, sometimes
modesty
we think
matter that
modesty
I'm
is just
talking
about
about.
skin.
You
But
know,
it's like you're not even represented. That's immo.
exactly.
Why are you wearing a
Let
bathroom
everything
slippers,
complement
to the
itself.
store?
Like let everything you are wearing, both
Yeah,
perfume and clothes, let it
yeah,
form a good harmony. So
absolutely.
yeah, do you have any other thing to add
I think
at this
you've
point?
captured everything. I think we touched it exhaustively, I hope. And of course there are different like subsets to
Trust
this
me,
discussion.
there are a
So
lot of
we're still going to
layers to it.
address different things,
So
expound
many.
on some of
And
this
if
we
you have
touched
any
on.
questions about this, you can drop it in the comments,
Yeah,
send a DM and
yeah.
stuff like that, and we'll cover them
Mm.
in season
Two.
2.
I almost
Yeah,
forgot that. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, once again, before we leave, how do you feel? So this is like a wrap
Mm-hmm.
on season 1. What are you looking forward to the most? When we'll give you updates on when that will
Mm.
start and all of that.
Mm. So what am I looking forward
Yeah.
to the most? I'm looking forward to um more controversial conversations, because I feel
Hey.
like, not because, well, I
Hmm.
am a troublemaker, sort of,
Okay.
but
Thank God you are. So you are hearing. You are hearing in public.
wait
Oh.
now, wait now. But
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot happening and
Yeah.
going on,
Mm-hmm.
um, in real life, like around us, and even on social media. I mean, social media has given us the opportunity to just put everything out there,
Mm-hmm.
and you see things, and then you mistakenly go to the comments, and you are seeing
Yeah.
different thoughts, different ideologies, different, and you're like, oh my god. And sometimes it's easy to be in that cocoon to assume that everybody thinks the way you do,
Mm-hmm.
or sees life the way you do.
Mm-hmm.
And not because you put yourself on a pedestal of I know it all,
Mm.
but like, there's you just feel everybody has a certain level of knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
understanding,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some of us are privileged to have been exposed to certain things, and then you realize that there's such a huge gap,
Yeah.
in terms of um, ideologies, thinking, and it's painful,
Mm.
because I for one, I understand the fact that, look, how you think influences like your reality. Your reality would mirror your thinking, you know, would mirror. So what you are typing, it just shows the kind of person you are.
Mm-hmm.
It shows the state of your life. It shows the quality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I have a passion and a burning um what's it called, burden, to help people elevate to that point,
Mm-hmm.
to understand that the quality of my thoughts determines the quality of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's not so much about people putting the right comments on things, but it's for people, seeing people's lives evolve, and
Yeah.
improve the qualities of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, seeing those things, you know online, just shows me that people are definitely not, you know, what's the word now? People are not improving the quality of their lives, basically. So for me, and
So
that's
you
why I
have already
say,
wet the ground for the trouble we want to cause in season 2 now. You
mm-mm.
have told them that they are not.
Oh,
It's fine now. Even you
you
said you like
guys, you
trouble.
get my
You
point,
say you want to
right?
cause trouble.
No, there
It's
are like
fine.
just plenty
Yeah,
problems
yeah, yeah.
everywhere.
I get you.
It's just too much, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
this is 2025. I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe this. And it's a reality check for me, and that's why we do what we are doing,
Yeah.
because someone has to say it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, first of all, my own is not as it's not like that. I'm looking forward to the break. Just
To
no
breathe.
worry bothering myself about okay, what do we have to prepare for next and all of that. So like it's a breather.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you would have noticed that we have like a third member of this podcast. If you've been listening,
Oh yeah, the
you've been
legendary
hearing
third
our
member.
daughter's voice in several places. So I mean that's also an amazing one as well. So we'll have some time to just be with her and just sit with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I'm looking forward to bigger, better, more amazing things in season 2. I mean, your suggestions are welcome. Your thoughts are welcome. Your emails, your DMs, and all of
Absolutely.
that is welcome. Looking forward
Mm-hmm.
to more growth, more collaborations, and a well-deserved break.
Break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We did it, Joe.
yeah, we did it. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this one.
Yeah.
Please, while we're on break, everything is still going to be available everywhere you are listening to
Absolutely.
this from. So
Absolutely.
please keep the
Yeah.
numbers climbing up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your support
Yeah.
so far,
Mm.
and we look forward to doing great and
Okay.
amazing things. So thank you so much, guys. It's been an amazing journey. Don't forget to keep engaging with us on social media. We'll always be present there. We're taking feedback to improve, the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Someone had to say it. Someone had to say it. Voices rise, we can do